Hi everyone, this is Jeremiah with JFKLiving, and I have a wonderful special guest with us today, Greg Voorhees. Thank you so much. He is a lawyer out of Medford that is here to help us get some information on why hire an attorney for your real estate transaction. So just a little bit about why do you think a lawyer is so important in the real estate transaction?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, this is probably the biggest purchase you're ever going to make in your life. You're signing a legal document that's 13, 15 pages long, and you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. Generally, you want to go to people that specialize in this type of law. So I handle real estate transactions day in, day out. I have the ability to go through contracts quicker than someone that's not familiar with that, and kind of guide a prospective buyer or seller through a transaction. And the goal is to try to make it as smooth as possible and take the weight both off of the agents, but more importantly, try to make the seller or the buyer that you're working with feel comfortable and know that they have someone that's there for 100% for their best interest.
So just, when we get that signed contract, there is that 3-day attorney review. So a short definition of what that 3-day is.
An attorney only can come in during a 3-day period and say, contract looks okay, but I'm going to change a few things.
Okay.
And because it's a standard contract, for the most part, it is okay. Mm-hmm. But the problem is if you're a buyer, you might want to have some more ability to dictate things and say, you know what, in inspections, I want to have some more flexibility. I want to make sure that this is contingent on this house appraising. I don't want to spend more than it's worth.
Exactly.
As a seller, you might want to not be forced to agree to some things that otherwise the contract says you must spend X amount of dollars if this issue comes up with termites. Mm-hmm. So it's not a one-size-fits-all transaction because every contract is for a different piece of property, for a different amount of money with different people.
And then after that 3-day review, once the lawyers have signed off and the buyers and sellers have signed off, what do you help with throughout the transaction?
Agents can do a great job. You can guide people through inspections and things like that. But frankly, what I find it works the most smoothly is when a lawyer's involved, we can kind of forecast things that may pop up in the future in the transaction and avoid them early. The role after attorney review is over is you do your inspections, but once I see that report, I can kind of direct and say, legally, these are things you may not be able to request as a buyer. So here's what we need to do to get you to be able to make that request. Wonderful. And so I can manipulate things with your assistance to get that done. As a seller, I can say, I got a request that came in, A, B, C, and F. They're all things that they don't have any legal right to ask you for.
Yeah.
You might have otherwise spent $1,500 working on an HVAC system you didn't need to touch because legally they didn't do what they needed to do to get you that request properly.
Which is great because then it really helps with the what's legal and what's not legal for asking in the repair request.
Exactly. You don't end up in a situation where you have this back and forth that turns ugly because, well, I'm not sure if I can say yes or no to this, or I'm not sure if I can ask for this. Point blank, here's what you can and can't ask for, and if it's something that was a no, we'll find a way to make it where you can based on doing some other things. The other main thing that the service provides is I come to your closing, whether you're a buyer or a seller. If you're a buyer, I'm there and I'm going through your mortgage packet with you. Some lenders do a great job and they'll go through document by document, but you're talking about a stack of papers about this big that you're going to be signing, 50, 60 documents at your closing. I can go through those within the half an hour, 45 minutes and tell you basically everything you're signing, what it means, what its repercussions are for you now and in the future. As a seller, I can make it where you don't even have to be at closing. You sign a piece of paper or two for me, and all of a sudden your money shows up in your bank account or a check shows up in your hand a day or two later. So the idea is to simplify the process, take the weight off of everybody else, and allow me to streamline as an attorney. Probably the most important thing though is I'm here to answer all of the questions throughout the process, both for the agents and the buyers or the sellers. Sometimes you have these questions and they start to build up and you make yourself crazy and nervous. It's easier to just ask the question. A quick email, a phone call, a text.
And you're amazing about getting back. So if you have any more questions for Greg, how can they reach you?
My email is gvoorhees, it's like the town, at voorheeslawoffice.com, or you can feel free to give me a call. My number is 856-872-2373.
Greg, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
You have a wonderful day.